My phone buzzed in my suit pocket. I was sitting straight at the end of the conference table, out of the corner of my eye. I saw a WeChat notification pop up on the screen. Little Fairy sent a question mark. My fingers moved faster than my brain. I slid the phone onto my knee under the cover of flipping through a document. I typed quickly. In a meeting. Boss is droning on. I'm dying trying not to laugh. I'll show you later what I'm wearing today. Black shirt. Gonna make your legs weak. I looked up at the end of the long table. Lin Qingyan stood in front of the projection screen. Dark gray suit skirt wrapped around her STR-eyed posture. Her hair was pinned up perfectly. Her face showed nothing. She flipped to the next PPT slide. Her eyes scanned the room like a scanner with no feelings. She was our company's living demon. 3 months in the job and she'd already fired 2 VPs and 1 finance director. No one dared to check their phones in front of her. But I was different. I sat in the last row by the door. Little Fairy sent another message. Black shirt. Are you sneaking off to the gym to take photos again? Last time your abs shot wasn't up to standard. Didn't even get the full line. I almost laughed out loud. I matched with this girl 2 months ago on a social app. Her profile picture was a cartoon cat. Her bio said, regular office worker, looking for someone to chat with. After a few days of talking, I realized she was brutally sharp-tongued, but she always caught every one of my jokes. I'll send you a pic later. HD. No filter. First tell Mado I look good in black. As I typed that, I glanced at Lin Qingyan. She was presenting Q3 revenue numbers. Her voice was cold and flat, like she was reading a eulogy. My phone buzzed again. Little Fairy. I'll decide if you look good after I see it. Take one now. I want the raw, unedited version. My hand twitched. Now. In the conference room, over 20 people staring at the big screen. Babe, I'm seriously in a meeting right now. The boss is less than 10 meters away. Little Fairy. Then sneak it. Didn't you say you sit in the last row? Take it and hide it. I admit I was hooked. For 2 months. Whatever she asked me to do, I did it. Recorded voice messages singing happy birthday. Shot videos of myself cooking in a pink apron. Every time she received something, she'd send a string of ha 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 and blushing emojis. And I'd feel like it was all worth it. We never video called. But the feeling of being thought about that felt too damn good. I looked left. Marketing manager Sister Lou was doodling little turtles in her notebook. I looked right. Empty seat. I slowly raised my phone to chest level. Made sure it only caught my collar and half my face. Click. The sound was like thunder in the silent room. I locked the screen immediately. See. Old sweat ran down my whole body. Thankfully the PPT had just flipped and no one noticed. I sent it off. See. Black shirt. Handsome or not. Then I looked up. And then I saw it. On the 150-inch LED screen at the front of the room. My WeChat chat interface was projected in 4K HD quality. Me. I'll show you later what I'm wearing today. Black shirt. Gonna make your legs weak. Little Fairy. Black shirt. Are you sneaking off to the gym to take photos again? Me. I'll send you a pic later. HD. No filter. Little Fairy. I'll decide if you look good after I see it. Take one now. Me. Babe. I'm seriously in a meeting right now. Little Fairy. Then sneak it. And then my stupidly embarrassing selfie. Crooked smile. Harsh overhead lighting. Shirt collar wrinkled like a dish rag. The conference room went dead silent. I heard Sister Lou's pen drop. I saw tech department Xiaoqun across the table with his mouth hanging open, eyes nearly popping out. I slowly moved my gaze to the end of the table. Lin Qingyan stood next to the projector screen. She looked down at the tiny screen share button on the base of the presenter remote. She must have accidentally touched it when flipping slides. Then she looked up. See. Old as a knife fresh out of the freezer. Staring at the nickname Little Fairy on the screen. Then staring at my face. My phone buzzed in her hand. She glanced down. It was still being projected. Everyone could see the latest message from Little Fairy. Haha, got it. Black shirt does look good. But your collar wasn't folded right. -10 points. Wear a white shirt next time. I like white shirts. Someone in the room let out a short gasp. Lin Qingyan slowly reached up and turned off the projector. She placed the remote on the table. Her voice was terrifyingly calm. Meaty. Ing paused. Zhang Yuan. My office. When I stood up, my legs were weak. Walking past her, I caught a faint scent of cedarwood. Same scent as the perfume Little Fairy said she used after showers. The one she mentioned during our nightly phone calls. She walked toward her office without looking back. Her heels clicked on the tiles, one by one, like a countdown for me. My PH. One buzzed in my pocket again. Little fairy, why'd you stop talking? Did you actually go to your meeting? I stared at those words. My head was buzzing. It was over. All of it. This was my first time in Lin Qingyun's office. Everyone in the company knew her door was hard to get through. The door closed behind me. Lin Qingyun walked around her desk and sat down. She placed her phone face down on the table. She pulled out a pack of cigarettes from her drawer, took one out, put it back. Her fingers were shaking a little. Sit, she said. I sat. The couch was too soft. I sank into it, already feeling 3 feet shorter. Lin Qingyun was quiet for a long time. Her fingers tapped twice on the desk. Then she spoke. What's your username? Qinghe. What's my username? Little fairy. Full name. Universe's most adorable super little fairy. I wanted to crawl into the couch cushions and disappear. Lin Qingyun finally looked up at me. For a split second, something cracked in her eyes. I swear I saw a flash of panic, but she pushed it down fast. Zhang Yuan, 2 months ago, you matched with me on Banban. Your first line was, your profile pic looks like you stole it. She made a small sound of acknowledgement. What did I reply? Yours looks like a stock photo too. Right back at you. The office went quiet for 2 seconds. Then Lin Qingyun suddenly turned her head toward the window. Her shoulders relaxed. Just barely. She was holding back a laugh. Then you should know, based on our chat frequency over the last 2 months, you've sent me an average of 67 messages per day. Last Wednesday at 3 a.m. You sent me 7 voice messages saying I miss you, each one 58 seconds long. I listened to all of them. She opened a drawer and slid a file folder across the desk. This is the package you mailed me last Friday. I recognized the file folder. Inside was the birthday surprise box I'd sent her, a hand-sculpted clay cat, a bag of nougat candy I'd stayed up 2 nights making, and a handwritten card. Lin Qingyun opened the folder. The crooked little clay cat fell out and rolled twice on the desk. She picked it up and put it in her pocket. Zhang Yuan, she said, her voice suddenly softer. You told me you'd planned out the menu for our first date. What's the first dish? Lemon tea. You said summer's your favorite drink. I looked up 6 recipes and tried 4 versions. Finally settled on honey instead of sugar. Plus 2 mint leaves. I stopped mid-sentence. Because Lin Qingyun was looking down, her fingers gripped the clay cat tight. The tip of her nose was a little red, right there. Like a crack in an iceberg, light shining through the gap. It hit me then. For 2 months. That girl who messaged me every day complaining about clients, whining why do bosses have to sit through so many meetings in real life. She had no one to say those things to. She was the CEO, the one who fired people without blinking, the one who ran meetings like interrogations. She only had me. Don't talk yet. She picked up her phone, unlocked it, and opened WeChat. She clicked on the pinned chat. The nickname was a moon symbol. She turned the phone toward me. On the screen was the 58-second voice message I'd sent her. Below it showed played. She hit play. My voice came out. Fairy. I dreamed about you again today. I don't know what you look like, but in my dream you were wearing a white dress eating strawberry ice cream. I reached out to stop it. Lin Qingyun pulled the phone back. She played the voice message again. Then she looked up. Her eyes were a little red, but her mouth was curved up. Zhang Yuan, in that message, you said you were afraid you were too ugly for me. Now that you've seen what I look like, you still think you don't measure up. She turned back to her seat. Her voice went back to business cold. Zhang Yuan, work stuff. Q3 revenue is down 8%. I need a solution. Tomorrow at 10 a.m. Bring me a plan. At night. Keep talking to me. Keep sending messages. Don't stop. And who are you right now when you say that? She opened the drawer and put the clay cat inside. Her voice was very soft. What do you think? When I walked out of her office, my phone buzzed in my pocket. Universe's most adorable super little fairy. I saved the black shirt photo. Fix your collar next time, if your plan's no good. I'm docking your performance bonus. I stood in the hallway staring at those words, cold sweat on my back. But I couldn't stop the corners of my mouth from curling up. WeChat buzzed again. Making you lemon tea tonight. In exchange. Your voice messages tonight can't be less than 10. I replied with one word. Okay. She instantly sent back a blushing emoji. I didn't go home that night. Sat at my desk staring at the computer screen. Her words echoed in my head. Q3 revenue down 8%. A marketing department head wasn't even supposed to carry that kind of weight. But she called me out. So I had to deliver. I stared at the spreadsheets for 2 hours. My brain turned to mush. My phone lit up 17 times. All from Little Fairy. Didn't dare open a single one. On the 18th buzz, I took a deep breath and opened it. Universe's most adorable super Little Fairy. Can't figure out the plan. I bet you're staring at your screen right now. Do you even know online conversion dropped 4 points last quarter? Your logistics supplier changed last month. Delivery time went from 2 days to 5. Customer complaints tripled. The problem's in the supply chain, not marketing. I switched back to the back end and reran the data. 97% overlap. I picked up my phone. You knew the answer the whole time. Why didn't you say it in the meeting? Because I'm the boss. The boss can't do everything herself. You're in charge of marketing. You didn't notice the logistics change for 3 months. That's your screw up. Pull an all-nighter and write a recovery plan. Present the new supplier shortlist at tomorrow's meeting. I've helped you this far. Write the rest yourself. 2:17 a.m. I sent her the first draft. 3 minutes later she replied with one word. Revise. Attached was a screenshot. 3 things highlighted in red. Excel formula had 2 decimal points wrong. The risk mitigation plan cited last year's outdated regulations. The transition phase was missing emergency contacts for week 2. I called her. It rang once and she picked up. You're not asleep. Do I sound like I'm asleep? The timeline in your plan says 2 weeks. You can do it in 1. Leave room for negotiation, put 3 weeks. And I'll cut it down to 2 in the meeting. 10 a.m. the next day. Big conference room. Lin Qingyan walked past me. Her hand came out of her pocket and placed something at the corner of my desk. 3 supplier business cards. Handwritten note. Pick the third one. Best coordination. I looked up at her. She was already at the end of the table opening her folder. Face completely blank. When it was my turn to speak, I stood up to project my screen. I glanced down and saw a small note at the bottom of the first PPT slide. She'd added it at 3 a.m. Slow down here. Wait for the finance director to look up before you go to the next slide. When I got to the supply chain proposal, operations director Zhou Li started rolling his eyes. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Lin Qingyan write 4 words in her notebook. Look at the third one. We've shortlisted 6 suppliers and narrowed down to 3. Compared response time, pricing flexibility, and emergency protocols. The third one has the highest composite score. Transition period extended to 3 weeks to give internal systems enough adjustment time. Zhou Li snorted. 3 weeks is too long. 2. That's when Lin Qingyan looked up. 2 weeks is doable. This quote from the third supplier. She paused. Zhang Yuan, who provided the baseline data for the cost analysis. The data was verified by the marketing team together. The Excel cross-check referenced last year's finance template. She nodded. Data accuracy is acceptable. Supplier is set as number 3. Any objections? Raise them offline. Zhou Li's face changed. His mouth opened. In the end, he said nothing. After the meeting, I sat at my seat packing up my laptop. My phone lit up. Little Fairy, nice work. I typed back. You covered for me. Aren't you worried people will notice? A moment of silence. Then she replied. Zhang Yuan, I told you last night to keep talking to me. Did you think I was joking? Another buzz. Come to my place tonight. I'll make you lemon tea. Consider it a reward. I almost dropped my laptop. Address, she replied. You put convenience store downstairs from the office on the Claycat shipping label, but I checked the tracking number in the system. You actually shipped it from the courier station near my place. Zhang Yuan, how long are you going to keep pretending? The elevator stopped at her floor. I took 3 deep breaths. The door opened. Lin Qingyan wore a loose gray knit sweater. Her hair was down over her shoulders. Fuzzy slippers on her feet. She turned and walked inside. Shoes off. First shelf. I looked down. A brand new pair of men's slippers. Tags still on. When did you buy these? When you were coming up. Guessed you wear size 41. Check the company OE system for your uniform measurements. The kitchen smelled like lemon and mint. She sliced lemons with quick, clean movements. Next to her sat a honey jar and washed mint leaves. 7 test batches. Tried it again last night. She pushed the cup toward me. Tiny beads of condensation on the glass. Mint leaves floating in the sparkling water. I took a sip. The honey's sweetness and the lemon as tartness hit my tongue at the same time. Cool mint aftertaste. Zhang Yuan, when did you start suspecting me? Before yesterday? Not at all. Only started piecing it together after I walked into your office. What did you piece together? You never told me specifics about work. Just meeting or overtime. When I asked your department, you said general management. When I asked about salary, you said enough. When I asked for photos, you always said let's video call first but never actually initiated one. All the vague answers because you couldn't tell the truth. She smiled down at her drink. What about you? You said you were a regular sales staffer with 5 reports and a 12,000 salary. But you're a marketing department head with 12 reports and double the pay. I just didn't want you to think I was poor. John Yuan. She looked up. Her eyes were warmer under the soft light than in he conference room, light amber with flecks of gold. Do you think I need money? You were afraid you were too poor and too average. But you never asked what I was afraid of. What are you afraid of? She put the cup down, rested her chin on her folded arms. Like an ordinary girl with all her armor off. I was afraid that once you saw who I really am, you'd stop talking to me. You know my reputation at work. Tyrant. Living demon. Cold-blooded. I didn't hesitate when I fired those people, but after I did, I couldn't sleep. I'd text you at 3 a.m. saying I couldn't sleep, and you'd reply I'm here with you. And I could close my eyes. John Yuan. For 2 months. You were the only place I didn't have to pretend. If you hadn't pretended to be Little Fairy, would you have talked to me? If you'd matched with me and saw executive, would you have swiped left? You'd have thought this kind of tough woman is too much. So I kept the real me away. Used the cartoon avatar. The regular office worker persona. And then I found out you complimented me every day. You sent me a clay cat. You made it with your own hands. Fixed every crooked spot where the glue didn't hold. The cat was a little crooked. I like it crooked, because you made it thinking about me. I stepped forward. Lin Qinyan, if you just fired me directly in that meeting yesterday, I would have left, but you didn't. You made me write a plan, helped me fix my Excel at midnight, put supplier cards at my desk, and now you're telling me you were scared I'd leave. So yesterday, when you first faced me in person, were you scared? She was quiet for 2 seconds, then she lifted her head and met my eyes. Yes, that's why I told you to keep texting me at night. I was afraid if the line went dead, you'd just be Zhang Yuan from the office again. So now are you my boss or my girlfriend? She stared at me for 3 seconds, picked up her cup and took a long gulp of lemon tea, swallowed, then said, It's after work hours now. I'm Little Fairy. Call me Fairy. I laughed. She laughed too. Teeth and all. Zhang Yuan, can you still sit in the last row tomorrow? Why not? She turned around, that half-smiling expression back on her face. Because tomorrow I'm going to screen share again. On purpose. That projection yesterday wasn't an accident. I pressed it. I wanted to see how you'd react. If you'd flipped out and stormed off. You'd just be Zhang Yuan. But last night, you sent me 7 voice messages, each one 58 seconds long. I stayed on her couch until 4 a.m. that night. She showed me her phone gallery, screenshots of my voice messages, my selfies, random jokes I'd sent, sorted into different folders. One was called When He Says He Miss. Me. When I tapped it, she grabbed for the phone. I held it up and she couldn't reach. She sat back pouting. The tips of her ears were red. At 4 a.m., I left. She stood at the door. Right before it closed, I heard 3 words. Very soft. Drive safe. The next morning, the office atmosphere was off. I walked in with my coffee. People looked at me differently. No one knew what happened last night. But everyone saw Little Fairy on that big screen. WeChat lit up first. Universe's most adorable super Little Fairy. The cafeteria has new soy milk. I got you a cup. Left it at reception. I typed back. Did you put it there yourself? I asked reception to do it. Too obvious. I went to reception and picked up the cup. A sticky note on it. Lin Qingyan's handwriting. 2 spoonfuls of sugar. Less ice. You said yesterday this place's soy milk was too bland. I folded the note and put it in my wallet. Be internal Lee. And he rang. Executive Assistant. Manager Zhang. Ms. Lin wants to see you. Bring the new supplier integration plan. Lin Qingyan was flipping through documents behind her desk. The clay cat sat on the corner of her desk, inside a clear acrylic display stand. Next to it was my selfie photo I'd mailed her. I've reviewed the plan. She closed the folder. The 3rd supplier's contact reached out this morning. Their GM wants to meet in person. You go. Tomorrow at 2 p.m. Full project representative. She slid a stamped authorization letter across the desk. Company seal. Signature. Date. All in order. Free th. Is weekend. A date. My projector's broken. Come take a look, Ms. Lin, for projector repairs we should call IT. John Yuan. Her tone was calm, but the tips of her ears were red. Are you coming or not? I'm coming. Saturday 3 p.m. If I'm late. 10 voice messages minimum. I stepped out of her office and stopped at the hallway corner. Operations Director Zhou Li stood nearby, a form in his hand, leaning against the wall. He'd been at the company 4 years longer than Lin Qinyan, a founding team veteran. John Yuan. Ms. Lin called you in? Yeah, new supplier stuff. She's letting you handle this alone. Young people should take opportunities. But remember, he leaned in, voice lowered. Some things aren't just about having a good plan. I went back to my desk and messaged Lin Qinyan. Jolie talked to me. She didn't reply with words. 2 minutes later, I got a screenshot. Her WeChat pin nickname for me had changed from Zhang Yuan to Qinghe. Then a line of text. Qinghe, we'll talk more when you come over this weekend. I was about to reply when my phone buzzed again. Company internal OA push notification. Public notice regarding P. Project authorization for marketing department head Zhang Yuan. Everyone in the company received it. The authorization letter scan, project scope, approval permissions, signatures and seals. Company-wide announcement. The office went quiet for 2 seconds. Then Sister Lu's pen hit the floor again. WeChat exploded with messages. Holy shit. You got the boss. 6:30 p.m. I was shutting down my computer to leave. My phone lit up. Universe's most adorable super little fairy. Working late. No. Going home. Then send voice messages on the way. I stood downstairs and looked up. 22nd floor. East-facing window. Light still on. I held down the voice record button. Fairy, what were you thinking when you sent out that announcement? 45 seconds later she replied, voice lowered. The whole company saw that you're mine. My hand was shaking when I hit send. Happy now. I sent one back. Happy. She instantly replied with one word. Scram. Followed by another voice message. Even lower. Drive safe. Tell me when you're home. Saturday. 2:50 p.m. I stood outside Lin Qingyan's door, carrying a bag of fruit and a box of homemade cookies. I'd baked them that morning. The door opened. She wore a white shirt and jeans, hair in a low ponytail, no makeup at all, when she took the cookie box. Her mouth couldn't hide the curve. The shapes are still not round enough. Then don't eat them. She pointed at the projector on top of the TV cabinet. Last night it suddenly wouldn't turn on. I crouched down to check the power cord. Tell me the truth, is this projector actually broken or did you make up an excuse? She sat on the couch biting a straw. Half and half. I mainly called you over to talk about Jolie in person. He sent an email to the board copying nearest notice regarding marketing department overstepping into supply chain management process. He wants the project paused and handed over to operations. He's trying to steal it. Monday. 9 a.m. Big conference room. Jolie sat in the third seat on the left. 2 deputies beside him. Lin Qinyan at the end of the table. I sat in the last row. Jolie cleared his throat. Regarding the marketing department's supplier transition plan. Operations has done a preliminary risk assessment. Recommend a 2-week pause to let operations sort through the process flow before proceeding. Marketing may not have enough hands-on experience with supply chain operations. I stood up. The risks were already outlined in the earlier proposal. PPT slides 17 through 23. Third-party quality inspection transition plan. Warehouse switchover SOP. Logistics emergency contacts. All documented. Regarding cross-department collaboration. Operations can access real-time data at any time through the interface. I can send the interface docs to Director Zhou. Zhou Li's expression froze for a moment. His deputies flipped to page 17, exchanged looks, and said nothing. That's when Lin Qinyan spoke. Director Zhou's process concerns are timely. I considered that when signing the authorization. She pulled out a document and projected it on screen. I've brought in a third-party audit team to oversee the entire process. Compliance will be independently audited and reported to the board. On the screen was a confirmation letter from an accounting firm, top 3 in the industry. Seals and signatures complete. Someone in the room sucked in their breath. If Director Zhou has further concerns, you can contact the audit liaison right now. They've already started on site this morning. Zhou Li's face changed. His lips moved. 2 words forced out. No need. Lin Qinyan closed her folder. Supplier transition continues as planned. Zhang Yuan is fully responsible. Reporting Li. Any directly to the CEO's office. Meeting adjourned. My phone buzzed. Universe's most adorable super little fairy. I locked in the audit team late Thursday night. That was before anyone knew Jolie was sending that email. It's called being prepared. Next time something's uncertain, tell me early. You don't have to carry it alone. I stood up and walked out. As I passed Jolie, he turned his head away. Sunlight flooded the end of the hallway. I held down the voice button. Fairy, your white shirt looks good today. Half a minute later she replied. Her voice was low but I could hear the smile. Meeting's over. Over. Jolie's face was green. Serves him right. He messes with my people. Another buzz. Text. Universe's most adorable super little fairy. Come over tonight. Projectors still not fixed. The project moved smoothly. After the new supplier took over, delivery time dropped back to 8 days in the first week. Lin Qingyun only said data meets targets at the weekly meeting, but that night I got 6 voice messages from her, all praising me. The last one said, talk to HR about the deputy director promotion next week. That week I fixed her projector 4 times. Each time it was almost done. Then she'd say still seems like there's an issue. Come check again next week. The 4th time, I stared at the power cord at the back of the projector, clearly pulled loose on purpose. I turned to look at her. She hugged a cushion. Face innocent. Saturday afternoon, I went over again. She was kneading dough in the kitchen, a lopsided lump on the counter. I finished the cookies you made last time, trying it myself now. A smudge of flour on the tip of her nose. She didn't even notice. The dough's too dry. Ed to add water. I know. She was stubborn but secretly added a small spoonful. My phone buzzed in my pocket. HR emergency notification. Marketing deputy director nomination requires operations collaborative review. During review period, if candidate is involved in internal relationship controversy, process is automatically suspended. I handed it to her. She read it, and her kneading hand stopped. Jolie strikes again. Internal relationship controversy was mentioned at last week's board meeting. So what do we do? There's one way. Make it public. Let everyone know this isn't backroom dealing. Next week's anniversary dinner, Tech can screen share our chat history. After that, I'll go on stage and say Zhang Yuan and I are dating. The project appointment was fair. Zhang Yuan, are you scared? Of what? Scared the whole company will watch you. Scared everything you do from now on will be called nepotism. Lin Qingyun, if I were scared, I'd have quit the first week. I stayed because you said that day I'm afraid you'll stop talking to me. I'm afraid too. Afraid that if I leave, you'll only have that clay cat. She looked down at her flour-covered fingers. Zhang Yuan. The other day you asked me am I your boss or your girlfriend. I'll answer you today. She looked up, flour still on the tip of her nose. Eyes serious like she was signing a contract. You're my boyfriend. Forever. No matter what Jolie does or the board says. You're the one I chose. I chose you from the first message you sent me on that app. Zhang Yuan. Did you hear me clearly? I heard you. She nodded. Her mouth slowly curled up. The smile spread from her lips to her eyes. Then it settled. At the anniversary dinner. Wear something nice. White shirt. I told you I like it. You said it yourself. I look so good in white I'll make your legs weak. I'm going to inspect the goods that day. I walked over and stood behind her, chin on her shoulder, watching her clumsily roll out the dough. The dough's dry again. Shut up. She nudged me lightly with her elbow but didn't push me away. That night when I left, she stood at the door scuffing her slippers against the floor. Will you be nervous on anniversary day? Nervous about what? The screen share. Are you sure those cheesy lines of yours are broadcast safe? She closed the door a little slower than usual. Her voice came through the gap before it shut. That day. Just say one thing. I chose you too. I'll handle the rest. Anniversary day. I wore the white shirt. Ironed it 3 times. Collar folded perfectly. Before I left, my phone buzzed. Universe's most adorable super little fairy. Left yet. Wearing the white shirt. Send a pic for inspection. I took a photo and sent it. 3 seconds later she replied. Better than last time. Minus 10 points because you look too tense. Smile. The anniversary dinner filled the whole banquet hall. 300 people. The stage screen played project recaps. After the main program, the host announced the tech team had prepared a surprise. The big screen switched to WeChat chat screenshots. Cartoon cat avatar. Nickname Universe's most adorable super little fairy. The whole room laughed. The second screenshot appeared. Nickname changed to Qinghe. The text transcription of my 3 a.m. voice message. The laughter faded. People turned to look at me. Third screenshot. Who am I to you? You're my girlfriend. This one stayed on screen a long time. Dead silence across the room. The screen switched to live feed. Camera pointed at me. Jolie sat in the front row. Expression went from stunned to livid. Lin Qingyan stood up and walked to the center of the stage. The chat history is real. On WeChat. Qinghe is Zhang Yuan. Universe's most adorable super little fairy is me. Gasps from the audience. She raised her hand for quiet. Zhang Yuan and I met on a social app. We didn't find out each other's real identities until 2 months later. The project authorization, supplier decision, and deputy director nomination were all completed within company policy. Audit reports have been filed with the board. She paused. Her voice suddenly changed. But setting work aside, Zhang Yuan, I stood up. White shirt bright under the warm lights. That day at my place. You said I chose you too. Now I'm waiting for you to say it again. The microphone was handed to me. I took it. I chose you. From day one when I matched with you on that app. I chose you again after I found out who you were. And I'll keep choosing you from now on. She stood on SD. Age. Light beige dress. Hair half down. Pearl buttons on her collar catching the light. There was water in her eyes, but she didn't let it fall. Her mouth was curved up. This time it was for everyone. Public. She crooked her finger at me. I walked up and stood in front of her. Jia. Ying Yuan. I forgot to tell you one thing. Last Thursday night when the audit team came in, I couldn't sleep again. I texted you. You didn't reply. I thought if you had turned around and walked out that day during the screen share, I might have kept that clay cat in my drawer forever. But you didn't. You baked me cookies, fixed my projector, sent a voice message saying white shirt looks good today, so I chose you too, for 93 days. And from now on, applause erupted. She reached out. Her fingered IPS touched the back of my hand. She stood on tiptoe and leaned close to my ear. Only I could hear it. Zhang Yuan, the white shirt does look good today. I bent down and kissed her forehead. Screams and whistles from the crowd. The big screen froze on the text transcription of that VoIP. E-message. Fairy, you're the treasure I found through this internet cable. After it ended, I waited for her at the banquet hall entrance. She walked out and messed up my collar. Back to normal meetings tomorrow. You said you chose me for 93 days. How'd you count that? The day you sent your first message. I plan everything. Dating is no exception. And the next step in the plan? Home. The projector's broken again. You have to come fix it. She got into the car. I started the engine. She reached out and adjusted the AC vent. Her hand rested on mine as I shifted gears. Move in with me next week. Your place is too far. The spatula's the brand you said works well. The pink apron got washed 3 times and it's worn out. I bought a new one. The spare room's ready, but you can just sleep in the master. That night we made tomato beef brisket noodles in the kitchen. She took one bite. Her eyes lit up. She didn't say anything but finished the whole bowl. After washing the dishes, she leaned against the counter and tugged at my apron strings. The pink one. I didn't leave that night. In the dark. She turned over and pressed close. Forehead against my shoulder. Your heart's beating too fast. None of your business. She laughed softly. Her fingers rested on my chest and patted twice. Zhang Yuan, keep sitting in the last row tomorrow. Why? So you can sneak glances at your phone. When you message me, I'll see it and reply. Moonlight slipped through the curtain gap, landed on her hair. Lin Qingyan, that folder of yours. No looking. I was just asking, how many folders did you make? She was quiet for a while. Her voice came out muffled against my shoulder. 8. He says good morning. He says good night. He says he misses me. He says he dreamt about me. He says he'll cook for me. His selfie sorted. Full voice message collection. To be. He organized. I made the 8th one yesterday. Saving it for later. Later for what? For all the new things you'll say to me every day. It'll keep growing. I wrapped my arm around her. The moonlight crept a little further across the pillow. Her breathing finally slowed into sleep, between the other end of the internet and the pillow beside me. 93 days had passed. But there were plenty more ahead. The folder would fill up. When it's full, make a new one. Fill it again. She makes the plans. I execute them. She screen shares confessions. I step on stage and catch them. She's afraid I'll stop talking to her. So I'll send voice messages every day, until the day she gets tired of them. But that day probably won't come, because her collection will always be missing a folder called enough.